Good morning, everybody. It's your main man, Brother Saeed. It's 6:10, 7:30 in the morning. I'm up early. Got up and prayed and gave Allah His due. And I think we should get up every morning and thank our Lord and Savior, whoever y'all worship or whoever y'all spiritual being, whatever. We should get up and thank our Most High for allowing us to see another day. But if you read my title, it's called Job Creations, and if you read down the bottom, I think we should hold anyone that we put in office 100% accountable for the successes and failures of at least one thing that they promised that they would do. But my conversation is going to be, the first thing that's going to come up, they're going to say job creations. It's a million jobs out here. So when we talk about job creation, what do they mean when they say job creation? The only thing what I hear a person should be saying when they talk about job creation, they should be talking about putting people in a position where they can learn a skill, where they can learn a trade, and put themselves in a position to create their own wealth off of their skills in their trade. Like I said, there's a million jobs out here, and everybody talking about paying this amount of money, that amount of money. And I said this in one of my articles is that if you can afford to pay me $20 an hour, why you want to start me at $10 an hour? Just give me the $20 an hour, and I'm gonna stay. But then you got to work your way up to, this position. It's just like, me working in the chemicals for the last 20 years. I'm not gonna go and work for a chemical company and say, well, you had the experience, so we have to start you at this amount of money. No, if I got the experience, start me at what I'm worth, and that's $25 an hour. You see what I'm saying? But that's for anything. But for the most part, I think, and I honestly believe that we definitely, um, unless we put 100% efforts in creating training jobs, and I say this all the time, apprenticeship programs, and job training, workforce programs. We have to do that. You have to, and the black community need trade training. You know what I mean? And under the radar, and I'm not knocking, let me tell you something, I'm not knocking white people. I'm not knocking the system for how they do things, because this is their system. We just got to learn how to deal with it and move on and create our successes from their system. But a lot of them are going to trade schools now. I mean, but and I said this in one of my articles back in the day. We had shops in high school. We had training programs of black communities. I mean, we had OIC. We had I can't think of another program that they had that I was a part of, and it was a job training program. They teach you how to work with your hands. If somebody asked me what would be the first thing that I would teach anybody, I would teach. I mean, I'm not, because I still seek training in my penmanship skills and things of that nature. But I'm getting better, But I would encourage teaching people how to read. I would encourage teaching people how to write, and I would encourage teaching people how to read a ruler. Learn how to read a ruler. Once you learn how to read a ruler, that's the start of your entrepreneurship. That's the start, especially if you want to be a tradesman. That's the start of becoming that tradesman that you want to be. Because once you learn how to read a ruler, trade is all about measurements. And once you figure out what if I want to back up. Once you learn how to read the ruler, a ruler, that's the start of a lot of good things. A lot of good things. But we have to stop. Hell, these politicians have to stop getting on TV. Have to stop blaming Biden. You got to stop blaming Trump. You got to stop blaming all these people that doesn't have control over your community. We need to be. Good morning, brother. Greg, what's up, brother? How you doing, Ernest? How everybody this morning? So what we need to do, and I say this all the time, what we need to do is sit down with these city officials, with these school officials, and say, look, let's move some of this money for these magnet schools. Let's move some of these money for these other little schools, so-called, I call them private schools, and let's create a job training program. Let's bring back these shop classes and teach young men and women how to become, tradesmen. You know what I mean? And now you're not only helping them, you're helping people from the community. And I don't care what community it is, but I speak. My, you know, this would be my thing with politics if I decide to run for office. People are going to have an issue with me because my whole conversation, it would like Ice Cube said, my whole conversation right now is going to be about what do we need to do to put the black community or poor communities in a position to be able to become self-sufficient. And once they start learning these trades, once they start learning how to read a ruler and read and write, that's the start of them becoming a valuable product in America. Like, I don't want to use the word product, but I'm saying it like that because once they learn how to become self-sufficient, once they learn how to read a ruler, once they learn how to read and write, once they learn how to weld, once they learn how to pipe fit, and then we're creating a a a more rounded individual, a more rounded people in the community, then that's when the money's going to start recirculating back through the community because people are going to be able to help invest in the community. But we don't get that. No one can. I mean, like I said, when I was coming up, we had all of this, and no one can tell. And I'm gonna tell you, why when it stops. And this is just coming from me. It stopped when the system figured out that we take these trades out of these schools, and we take these trades and apprenticeship out of these people's hands and put them in the prisons. We can get these people to do this stuff for us in jail at 5 cents or 15 cents a day. Now, I haven't been in prison in a long time, and I don't. And this is what I want to tell people about me when I went to prison, because I don't want everybody to think that I was like this big time criminal, this big time, hard headed. I went to jail for some drug shit. You know what I mean? I went to jail because, and granted, they try to say I robbed somebody at a bank, and then they had me up for attempted murder at one time, and it really wasn't even attempted murder. Just that I didn't know North Carolina. I'm putting it all on the table because when I do decide to run for office, I don't want people to bring up this bullshit because that's all that. So this is my life about the jail shit. I got on dope, start doing dumb shit. I got locked up in Jersey for some drug shit. Then I went to a bank, found some money, came into some money, and one thing led to another. But the bottom line with that shit with Jersey, with the bank shit, the guy that they said I allegedly robbed or stole the money from wouldn't come to court because first of all, me and him was fly, and he told them that he thought he lost his money. He did not say I took it, and he even told them that I didn't take it. And then on the shit which was in the North Carolina, which I didn't know North Carolina at the time had a self-defense law. Because I'm putting it like that now because when I decided to run for office, I want people to understand where I'm coming from. Me and a guy got in a fight. He tried to stab me with a knife. Defending myself, I beat him with a baseball bat. That's it. I went to court. The judge said, if the judge and the prosecutor said, if you hadn't left the state, if you hadn't ran, you wouldn't even be charged with anything because it's a self-defense law. But since you fled, that made you a fugitive. I went to jail, and the judge said this: you're under the old law in North Carolina. If you accept this plea we got right now, you're going to sit in prison in Salisbury in an honor camp where it gave me a chance to catch up on my damn rest. I balled all day, every day. You know what I mean? And I was there for 2 weeks, but because he said if you take the new law, you're gonna do 3 years. So I took the old law, and I was sat in the county. I sat in Salisbury for 2 weeks. Then I had to go back to New Jersey to a court case that I beat because I done some shit with. I helped out. I helped out at a basketball camp with the Milwaukee Bucks in North Carolina, and a guy that was a trainer for the Bucks. He was nice enough to write me a letter. He juiced the letter up now, and that's how I got out of all that trouble. So we're gonna put that on the table. But getting back, yeah, you're right, Greg. Local elections affect everyday life more than Washington. Exactly, exactly. So, I'm from the town I'm from is 1 square mile, and I'm going to put this out there because I'm challenging people from my town. There's no way our town should be in the situation it's in because I follow us every day. Penns Grove need a job training program. We need to put these young men and women in a position to where they can learn the skill. And I'm not just talking about Penns Grove. I'm talking about even in here, Greensboro. We don't have no job. We don't have no trade schools. We don't have them. And if they do have them, I don't know where they at. You know what I mean? And when you send these people to these trade schools, you want to pay them to learn to trade. That's what the government money is for. And don't pay them $8, $9, $10 an hour. You put them in a position where they want to get up every morning and come and learn, and they're going to be excited about learning. And I don't want no teacher to be teaching me talking about, well, I'm going to teach you what you need to know to get you. No, no, no. You need to teach me everything that you give me, everything that you have, because somebody gave you everything that Jay had so you could become successful. We got to get off with this kick about what 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 people don't want to do or what people don't want to learn. If you're in a position to help people and you're going to get paid for helping them, give them everything you have to offer, because that's part of your job description. But and like I said, it's a million jobs out here. It's a million jobs out here. But people don't want to. And listen, I get up and go to work every day. My shit look good and everything, but I struggle like everybody else every day, bro. It's just all praise due to Allah. He put me in a position to be able to take care of my wife, take care of my grandkids, and help people that need to be helped when I can help them. That's my job here. That's what he ordained me to do. That's why I'm clean. Because of that position, because of that reason. But we can't say that this person don't want to work, or that person don't want to work, and you don't put people in the job, and you don't put people in the position to see how smart they really are. You know what I mean? You know, this guy could be a fucking hard-headed young dude, or the chick could be hard-headed, but you don't give them a chance to say, hey, man, listen. Hey, sister, listen, I'm going to put you in this program. It's a job training program. It's going to teach you how to work with your hands. It's going to teach you how to use your mind. And these kids can be smart as hell. And once you get out of the program, I guarantee you get the right job, you're going to make it 25, 30 hours an hour. And you're going to be able to take care of yourself. And you're going to be able to take care, help your family. And then you can buy what you want. Then you can buy what you want and not have to worry about the police fucking with you about dumb shit that you probably doing now. So we have to stop. We have to stop using this woke shit and using this whatever bullshit to not want to put ourselves in a position to help. I don't care if you're young, old. You're never too old to learn a trade. And like I said in the beginning of my conversation, we need to teach people how to read. People need to learn how to read. People need to know how to write, and people need to learn how to read a ruler. Because like I'm telling you now, once you read that ruler and you master them numbers, you can do whatever you want to do when it comes to trade and skill. And I'm just gonna say here, my man Greg Fact, bro. They took workshops, metal shops, and they did that for a reason. They did that for a reason because, like I said, when I was coming up in the '70s, there was a lot of programs that was offered to minorities that was putting them that would have put them in the position to be well off today. Like I said, most of the white guys that I went to school with, they and I should have took advantage of it and I didn't. They went to Votech. They went to the one in Salem, which was the smaller one, than the one in Woodstown. But they went to Votech and they learned these trades and they making money. So I'm gonna close with this. I haven't figured out who I'm gonna run against, when I'm gonna run against, but this is my. I have one agenda. I'm not going to sit here and debate with nobody about this and that. My whole agenda is going to be trade school apprenticeship program that's going to put young men and women, anybody, I don't give a fuck who it is. If you poor and if you can't afford to go to school and if you don't want to go to school, my whole agenda is putting people in a position where they can learn a trade and be able to get up in the morning and take care of themselves and take care of their families and not having to worry about where their next meal going to come from. This is your main man, Brother Saeed, and you know what I close with. Get the black mind right. Peace.